Oh, Talia, your duties are not over yet today. All right. So with the... Well, hold on. With the wild card, you got 5 minutes to tell a true story. And at the 5-minute mark, Justina will give you the bell. So wrap it up really quick once you hit that 5-minute mark. All right. You heard it twice during Jeff's story. All right. All right, Talia, pick a name.
Leah Garcia.
Leah Garcia, give it up! Leah, all right, there she is. Leah, have you ever told a story before?
In front of a bunch of people on a stage? No.
All right, awesome. Let's give her a lot of support. Leah!
Oh, it's very bright. All right, so my story happened in July of 2016. My husband and I had just quit our jobs and embarked on a year-long honeymoon. And we were under the impression that during this exciting once-in-a-lifetime adventure, we would magically transform into the kind of travel couple that you see on Instagram that have like 1,000 abs and they're super tan and they have blonde hair somehow and they're so in love and they like do yoga on the beach every day and they're super adventurous. We just thought like by traveling for a year, we would just sort of evolve into our higher form and become that person. So under this impression, we were in Colombia, and we visited the adventure town of San Gil. In San Gil, you can do all kinds of crazy, awesome adventures. You can go parasailing over the world's largest canyon. You can go whitewater rafting in 2 different rivers, and you can swim at the base of a massive 200-foot tall waterfall called Huancuri. So we decided to visit Huancuri. I wanted to swim. My husband wanted to rappel down it. He was leaning into the Instagram sort of adventure idea a little bit more than I was. So we hop on a bus. In Colombia, to take a bus anywhere, you just sort of stand outside and look white, and somebody will be along for you shortly. So we hop onto a bus, and we are not the only gringos on this bus. You can kind of pick them out very easily in a sea of people. So there's another couple sitting right behind us, and they're talking very loudly in English. So, of course, we're listening to them because, I mean, what else are you going to do? And the bus is only supposed to take about 30 minutes to get to this waterfall, but due to the Colombian space-time continuum, where everything takes roughly 1,000 times longer than it should for no reason, it took about 3 hours. So we're sitting on this bus, and it's like 1,000 degrees, and we're just sweating and just miserable and hot and thirsty. And the couple behind us is having the exact opposite experience. So they had come from our hostel with us, and any of you that have traveled in a hostel internationally know that there are certain types of travelers, right? And so these were the types of travelers that were single and young and attractive, and they had just found each other in this little love cocoon of traveling abroad and probably had irritated all of the other people in their dorm room for the night. And they were still in their little love cocoon and flirting with each other inappropriately, loudly in English, right behind us. And my husband and I were like very married by this point, even though it had only been a month. And so we're like, gross, get a room. So for like 2 hours, we're just blatantly eavesdropping. And we finally get off, and of course the gringos are all going to the same place. We all get off for Huancuri. And it's beautiful. There's these giant hills. There's like a peacock for no reason. There's a llama. And we're like, this is great. And I'm just sort of feeling the like travel adventure vibes. And so when I walk up to the ticket desk, I guess you could call it, and they ask me what we're there for, I say 2 tickets for waterfall rappelling, please. And my husband gives me a look, but doesn't like stop me. So the next part of this is really his fault. So we hike up to the top because, unfortunately, it turns out if you want to rappel down a waterfall, first you have to get yourself to the top of it, which I didn't factor into my decision. So we hike up. We're like hotter and sweatier and dirtier at this point. We finally get to the top of this 200-foot long, tall waterfall, and I'm looking over the edge, and it's literally just like looking into death itself, just a never-ending void of horror. And so I started to think seriously about my decision here and kind of weigh my options. I can either like jump off this waterfall to my death, or I can hike back down, which was like a 15-minute walk, and it was hot, and that's like a whole thing. So out of sheer laziness, I'm like, fuck it. How bad can it be, right? So we get about a 5-second explanation of how to rappel down a massive waterfall while water is gushing in your face in Spanish. So I understood half of it. And after that, we're good to go. That's it. That's all you need. So we got strapped into a harness, and then you just walk off a waterfall backwards. Okay. So my husband goes first, and he disappears forever. And I go next, and okay, so I'm walking down this waterfall, and I'm sort of supposed to have my legs out, and was it supposed to be together or apart? And then I just feel myself like falling, but I'm not in control of it. I'm just moving, and I have no idea what's happening, and there's water coming at me, and I'm so high in the air, and I panic. I'm literally like 5 feet from the top, and I can't move. My hands are like claws. And I'm trying to like talk myself out of it. I'm like, you can do this. Just your legs are supposed to do something, and you're supposed to move, I think. And then I hit a big empty patch underneath the waterfall. My legs touch nothing. I just start spiraling into the air, and I start completely screaming and melting down and crying. And at this point, my husband is not enjoying his time very much because he can hear me over a 200-foot tall waterfall screaming at the top of my lungs. He had a GoPro on his head. You can hear it on the GoPro. That's how loud I was. So I'm screaming, and I can't move, and I can't make myself go, and I'm convinced I'm going to die. This is how it ends on a waterfall in Colombia somewhere because I had to be fucking adventurous. It's my own fault. And so meanwhile, my husband is like trying to rappel down as fast as he can. He finally gets to the bottom. He tells the Colombian guide, hey, my wife's fucking stuck. Can you help her maybe? And they say tranquilo, which is the Colombian word for everything. They send a guy down. The guy tells me tranquilo. He rappels me down, and I'm like, I can't even move. By the time I get to the bottom, I can barely talk, I can barely shake. But finally, I ask them, how often does this happen? Like, does this happen a lot? And they just look at me, and they just shake their head and say, no, you're the first one. Thank you.